Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kathleen from Make the Change, and it's Wednesday, and it's Let's Talk. And I know I'm a little earlier than usual. Things have gone a little bit haywire, but sometimes stuff happens, and I will explain that in a little while. So today I want to talk about how the support team needs the support. Now, even though we may not realise it, we do have a good support team around us, whether that's friends or family or work colleagues. And in terms of business, we talk about, support networks or support parties. But all of these are available to us. We may not see it, we may not feel it, but in times of need it is there. And unfortunately, when you are in times of deep anxiety and deep stress, it is very, very difficult to see that support, and that is just the way anxiety and stress works in our heads. Okay, now this I sort of talked about support before, but this really came home to me a few weeks back, actually on the 22nd of June, when I was a support party for my son with the backup trust to get my son up Snowdon and back down again. And my sort of role was sort of doing the majority of the videos and of the photographs. And, at the time, you think about when, charities and things that are being organised may feel as if they're going over the top, but actually, the Backup Trust did an absolute fabulous job of making sure that everybody was as safe as they could be. So, before the night before the Snowdon push, there was a big meeting. All the rules and regulations were set out. They checked everybody's information, contact details, to make sure all the paperwork was completed accurately, all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted. They went round and checked all the equipment, made sure everybody was fit and healthy before anybody set off. And they did the same again in the morning before we all set off. And I really understand now why it is so important to make sure all of those conditions are done and they are followed through. Because on our way down from Snowdon, I admit I was perhaps walking a little bit fast to try and keep up with my son and his support party, and I was sort of lagging behind a little bit. And all of a sudden, about halfway down, all of a sudden my left foot just slipped away from me on the loose stones, and down I went with a lot of squealing and screaming, I am ashamed to say. But, that's the way it is. And our party just came to a halt. My son really didn't know what was going on. All he could hear was this bit of commotion behind him. And that is where the support party starts supporting the support party. So they start supporting each other. And I am absolutely thrilled to say that the support party was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, my son said this, afterwards, that even though his support team of about 9 people, they didn't really know each other as a group. They'd never worked together as a group. They worked so well together, and I think Pete was overwhelmed by how well it went. But it wasn't just how well the support party worked for him. That same support party also worked hard to look after me as well, and to make sure that I was all right, to sort of find out what was going to happen, how I was going to get down, and all of the putting all the Lego shapes together to make sure it all happened. And of course my main concern was to get my son down the mountain and make sure he was safe, because I knew how tired he was going to be. And so my husband stayed, and Rob stayed, Pete's mate stayed, you know, while I was there sunbathing in the gorgeous sunshine, feeding me jelly babies, you know, to keep my blood sugar levels, my energy levels up, while they started deciding what to do with me. And this is the thing, isn't it, about why support teams need to be able to work so well together, you know, and to have the right communication systems in place. You know, yes, they've got walkie-talkies, yes, they've got access to emergency services, and they all started to be put in place. But you know what, as well, it was the people walking up and down who were stopping as well. So, you know, a guy, he was there walking down with his family, he stopped to help, he was a paramedic, you know, and he stopped to help and just to talk to me, and he held my hand. I didn't know who this guy was, but he was holding my hand and he was talking to me, you know. And other people, are you all right? Do you need anything? Do you need any painkillers? You know, all of this sort of thing. And then it even got to the stage where I was still doing my sunbathing on the side of Snowdon, and this lady came down, she goes, are you all right? I saw you slip on the way up. So she saw me slip on the way up, she got to the top and she was coming back down again. She was still checking to see if I was okay. And I started to hear things like, you know, we'll get the helicopters out, and I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, I didn't, the support that I was giving my son didn't include helicopter liftoff, you know, and so I was all concerned about that, and that, you know, it's not as bad as you know, it's just a bad sprain, I should be all right, I should be able to get down. And we discussed lots of different ways of getting down the mountain, and in the end, some of my son's big support party who were helping him get down the rest of the mountain, Rich and Steve, they'd got him to a place where he didn't need so much support, and they came back up. So they'd already walked up Snowdon, back down Snowdon, and then come halfway up again to help me. Now, it's amazing, isn't it? In this world today, we hear so much negativity. You know, we've got all sorts of things going on in the world. You know, we've got the leaders of the world nations arguing over all sorts of different things. You know, we've got the issues with climate change and plastics and animal cruelty, children cruelty, all of this sort of thing. And actually we do forget how good people are. You know, we forget that the majority of people, everyday people, are very, very good people. They have compassion, they have kindness, they are caring, they have empathy, and they want to help. And, you know, in the best will in the world, even some of your closest friends, you know, they're not in a position to help. They're working full time, they've got their own kids, they've got their own parents, and all of those sorts of things. But, you know, with support messages, you'll get people come, let me know if you want any help. And sometimes you don't really know these people, just like this paramedic who came down, and he stopped and he stayed for about, I don't know how long it was, half an hour or something, put his family day outing on hold, more or less, you know, to support. And sometimes you have to be brave, and even though you don't want to trouble people, you don't want to put people out of their way, especially when you don't perhaps know those people quite so well, and just ask, you know, please, you know, it was really nice of you to offer the help and support. I'm a bit stuck here, please would you help me get to the hospital, or pick me up, or I don't know, get a pint of milk, or whatever it is that you need. And those people will, you know, those people have put that message out there to offer their support, not because they feel it is their duty, it's because that is the person that they are. And, you know, and don't be frightened. you know. And, you know, at the moment, you know, my son needs a lot of care, and one of his carers is off with stress, you know. And even as the person who is supposedly, or, you know, needing so much care, he is still concerned about this lady who is off with anxiety and stress. And I think, you know, he is finding it actually really quite difficult, because he is sending messages to her, you know, thinking about you, hope you're okay, let me know how you are, but he's finding it difficult because he isn't getting any response back. And this is the thing with communication and anxiety and stress, is communication can easily break down, because often, I'm not saying always, but often in times of anxiety and stress, when we are very, very anxious and stressed, we don't know how to respond to message of kindness, message of love, because it makes us feel very upset, it makes us feel very emotional. Perhaps, you know, the negative back chatter that's going on in the back of your head is maybe saying, you don't deserve this, they don't really mean it, but it's trying to get through that back chat and really see that people do care, that people are sincere about the messages that they are sending out to you, and to accept them. Yeah, even though you perhaps have been brought up as a very independent person, that you need to solve all your problems, and that's okay. That is good, in fact, for the majority of the time. But sometimes we just need to be able to go, yeah, you know, and put your hand up and say, yeah, I need a little bit of help, please, and thank you for sending me the messages. And this is, you know, often very, very difficult for, in times, you know, like this, for the person who hasn't got the anxiety and stress, or they've never experienced anxiety and stress, because they think perhaps that they're not needed, that, you know, for example, I read, you know, on Twitter the other week that, you know, this lady who suffers from depression, which is obviously a lot more serious than anxiety and stress, and she felt as if she, by somebody else, felt as if she was being pathetic. Okay, but it's about trying to put those feelings aside and really concentrate on how you can get through that, how you can use the support system that you've got to be able to manage, to be able to start to get your life back on an even keel. So, I'm going to really leave it like that today, but just to remember that even though you are a support party, that you still need the support, you need the help, you know, because there are going to be times when, even though you're the support party, that you are going to get unstuck, that, you know, something's going to happen that's going to take you by surprise, and you need to just be able to step back a little bit and go, thank you very much, your support would be really, really nice, and let people help you. So if you are, you know, struggling with asking for help, or finding the right support that you need, then drop me a message, put a comment on the bottom in this box, or, you know, go to my website, catherloyd.co.uk, and send me a message, and we can start talking about it. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a lovely afternoon, and I will definitely be speaking to you next week. Bye bye now.